Hey, you want to interview?
Hey, we're doing a podcast in this alley.
Yeah.
Don't step there.
Welcome to Content Penning the Show.
Hey.
Podcast takes place in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
I get excited about Austin, Texas more, I guess, than the actual name of the show. Podcast that takes place in Austin, Texas at Don's Depot, where we like to have some drinks and talk about things that have happened over the week with interesting people. I got Adam McWaters as my co-host this week.
Hello.
Adam McWaters, thanks for coming and co-hosting with me again.
Yeah, you thought I was kidding about killing and eating Dylan.
Oh, yeah. What other powers do you think you discovered after eating
Probably
Dylan?
an adoration of vodka that's unhealthy.
Yeah.
And that was new.
Sure.
Other than that, no.
Any movies you're obsessed with now?
Back pain. I got
back pain.
I got back pain from him.
Well, more back pain, I guess.
Yeah.
Age. Yeah.
I know. What a deal.
This week, we're really happy to have one of our favorite guests, been a guest with us on the Drunkcast before us, Content Penning a couple times, at least one time. She is a comedian in town, also one of the hosts of Gender Fluids, which is an amazing podcast. Her name is Ariel Norman. She's amazing. Ariel Isaac Norman?
Ariel Isaac.
Okay. Hey.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. How's it going?
Thank you. It's going well, I think.
You think?
I mean, life's a roller coaster.
The
but,
jury's still out.
you don't want the jury to be in, right? Then you may as well die.
Stretch this out for as long as you
Yeah.
can.
What do they say if...
If the Bible falls on the ground, you pick it up?
No, what's that saying that's like, it's always a happy ending. If it's not happy, it's not the ending. It's not over.
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about? There's
That's
some,
like
Are you from a faraway
Pier
land?
1 stuff? Like, right.
it could be a Pier 1 inspirational. If it's not the end, it's not over or something like. There's
Okay.
something like that that's kind of like saying.
You can't have a happy ending unless you're dead. No.
That lady's saying
right.
no.
I'll be happy when I'm dead.
Yeah, so if you're not happy, you're not. No, damn it, I'm ruining my point. That doesn't matter. Well,
I think we all somehow get it.
No, they're just. It's like like everything turns out all right in the end. If it's not all right,
Right.
it's not the end. It's something like that.
Oh, okay.
So my point is.
Okay.
So if it is all right, then maybe it's the end, and I don't want it to be the end. So it can't be too all right.
That sounds healthy as fuck.
Yeah.
That sounds like northern aggression to me.
I'm not retiring from the roller coaster that is life, so it's fine that there are ups and downs. I've been just kind of in a place of emotional growth in relationship stuff, like having to learn more communication and more standing up for myself, and realizing how little self-esteem I still have after all this.
Sure.
Yeah, and how that affects me, because you just project so much onto other people. Or at least, I guess I'm doing that now. Maybe you don't project so much. I project still.
I feel like I'd like to meet a person who doesn't project on other people. Like, that sounds like a miraculous. Like, that sounds like a perfect human, right, Adam? And I know what Adam thinks about perfection.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not real.
It's a myth. And also, like, the concept of projecting oneself onto someone else to their face is another way of explaining yourself. Like, trying to get someone to understand who you are.
Yeah.
It's not you projecting like what the problem comes in when you are projecting like to convince yourself that you know what they think about you, and that's an issue because you can't truly know the mind of another person.
Well,
and perfection is a myth.
You can create a whole story about what's going on in the other person's head, and then you start interpreting everything through that lens.
Right, but that's already off on the wrong foot, kind of, if you think about it. Like, you already constructed a story, a fiction, and then took it as reality, and you think and let that color everything, every interaction. And I think that's what a lot of people have a lot of problem with that, just in general.
Well, it's also about empathy, and it also has to do with whether or not you can regulate how empathetic you can be, Like, projection, even being cognizant of projection, means that you are trying to not project as much.
Congratulations, you've made it.
Yeah, right,
well, but that was after like a fighty argument that I'm like, okay, maybe I was creating all of this in my mind, but I don't know if I was creating all of it. I think I'm more sensitive to tone than my roommate. And so, yeah, and I wonder
You
about...
provide context to people who don't know you or your roommate just because otherwise that's hilarious to me.
You could almost leave it where it is, even if you didn't have any context. That's beautiful.
Because your tone was also bitter and funny. So,
but yeah, so I think that sometimes people have a tone that is betraying some real stuff,
sure,
and that they don't even hear that they are conveying that tone. And so those of us who are more sensitive to it are going to be hearing some things. And it's not just that I am sensitive to tone as if I'm making stuff up of your tone. It's like, no, there's some real shit going on in your tone that I'm picking up on that you don't know that you're expressing.
Right.
And I know, and I'm not like the most sensitive to tone. I know that some of the women in my life have like what we're calling intuition.
Sure.
I'm starting to wonder how much of that is just like that people are differently sensitive to tone,
right,
and getting a lot more information than other people might be. Because I remember with my first wedding / what we call the divorce party now, there was at one point when my new wife was like running out after me into the ocean, like really, really mad about something. And at the time, like...
I'm sorry, did you say into the ocean?
Yeah, well, I had gone...
Were you swimming away?
Okay. Well, I'll just tell the story. So this was in the... I think we had... So we were at a beach house for a week, me and her, and as well as, like 35 friends and family in these a few beach houses. And then over the course of the week, like people were trickling out until it was just us. But it was a Saturday. It was Saturday. Sunday we got married. And then on Monday, there was a period where I was... I wanted to go swimming because the girl, my friend who I was in love with, who I would later marry and who I'm now separated from, she had gone swimming, and so I wanted to have alone time with her desperately. And so I was like, this is perfect. A couple of our friends were like out reading on the beach. She was swimming. And I was like, well, I'd love to go for a nice swim. And so my new wife was, talking with other people anyway. So I just kind of came in.
Swimming person and your new wife are two different people in this scenario. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So then my second wife, my future second wife at the time, and now future second ex-wife, she was swimming.
Right.
And then my new wife at the time was cleaning. She had been cooking, and she was kind of cleaning and talking to people. And so I was just very casually like, oh, hey, I was thinking about going for a swim. Is there anything you'd like me to do to help you, clean up around...
Clean this mess you made.
And she was like, yeah, if you could just like wipe up the counters and stuff. And I was like, okay, we're going to go. And I wiped, clean, fast, not trying to look too fast, but just kind of like, all right, well, I think I did a pretty,
desperate cleaning.
Pretty good job.
Yeah. Just like we found it. Yeah. See ya.
And yeah, I was like, so I think, is there anything else you want me to do? I was just thinking about going for a swim now. And she's like, no. And she's kind of distracted. She's talking to people. But she's like, oh, that's fine, And I was like, okay, cool. Go, and I changed in my swimsuit. And then I'm like, all right, everyone, I don't know if anyone wants to join me. I'm just going to go for a swim for a little bit. Okay, see you later. And I go off, and then the girl I would later marry and I do get to spend, nothing. We're not like making out. We haven't talked about feelings or anything.
You're in the ocean.
I just had feelings for her at this point, and here she was at my wedding. And
well, put a pin in that, Adam. You can make out anywhere if you have the
ocean, man. That's a very violent place.
That makes it even better.
You never made out in an ocean before?
No. Naked ocean makeout.
I've done sex in the ocean even. Yeah. It depends on the ocean. Yeah.
I would probably drown. Like,
you just get into like the shallow area where there's kind of rocks you can use for leverage. Anyway.
Oh, if it's shallow, you didn't say shallows. You said never mind. Go ahead.
Well, okay, but the time
the story's not done. I don't have all the context yet. My mind is going places.
The time where we're just swimming and talking and just kind of catching up about stuff and talking about relationships and stuff. But so we were probably talking for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes when my new wife comes storming out of the beach house yelling at me like, where are you? Where'd you go? Where have you been? Kind of stuff. Like, what is this?
This was minutes, right? Not like...
I feel like it
hours?
was 10 minutes.
Okay.
It is possible. There's no way it was hours. It's possible I'd been gone for 40 minutes or something, like all told.
Okay.
I don't really know. But I had...
You cleaned the counters. What else does she need?
As the lawyer part, it was like I was fully defensible. I had done nothing wrong. And so, but she was yelling, and she actually, used some kind of language about like, what's going on with you? You kind of like, there was clearly, it was a bigger thing than just, why aren't you, whatever. Right. And she was, that was intuition, she was picking up on something. Right. And so that's why I'm like, how much of that is like, was there a tone in my voice that I didn't kind of realize that I was conveying? Was there, you know what I mean? Was there, or the other day I made like a horribly inappropriate joke to some new people, some strangers that I was at a little gathering with, and they were laughing, and I thought I had nailed that dark joke. And then my girlfriend was like, said something to them about how like, sorry, she like makes some, she's a comedian, and she, and they were like, okay, well, we were kind of like, but we didn't. And I was like, oh, interesting. I had not picked up that they were just uncomfortable at all.
Sure.
Let them sweat.
Yeah. So it's making me wonder if some of this is just an estrogen kind of a thing of like, maybe some people are, or if you grow up a woman, or something where you kind of learn to be more in tune with what's going on with other people, right, or if you had scary parents. Like, I don't know what all goes into us, but there's some like reasons why some people are maybe picking up on tone stuff, and other people are kind of tone deaf. Yeah. All these spectrums.
Tone has affected my life a lot. Like, that's the number one reason why I would get in trouble with my parents or with my teachers or with my bosses or really or with my wife now, for example. Mm-hmm. Is 'cause I just always, like, I've always sounded in a kind of a sarcastic way, mm-hmm. and I've had to adapt to things where I follow certain statements and with that's not sarcasm, like, because I don't know, I can't help it. And some people are very sensitive to that, and it sounds like I'm taking the piss, but especially if I'm trying to say something that I really do actually mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the
people
sensation.
just also aren't used to sincerity, like really earnest and kind of vulnerable sincerity. I notice that too. Like, if I say something like really complimentary or really kind of passionate and enthusiastic about something, people are like, are you kidding? Are you actually being this? And I'm like, no, I passionately believe this.
Yes.
Right.
I love you.
Right. It's in the how. It's in the how it comes out.
Yeah.
So I tend to be very complimentary to people
to compensate for your shitty tone.
To compensate for my garbage fucking tone. Yeah. And just I figure repetition might just ensure that they finally start believing.
That's actually what
me.
I told my roommate is, look, you have resting bitch tone, I guess, and so I need
my wife does too. She has resting bitch voice, as she calls it.
Yeah, and so what I said is, I need you to compensate by telling me you love me. You just have to regularly
afterwards or before that.
Just in general, because if she doesn't know,
take out the trash. I love you.
Yeah, I'm like, if you don't know you're doing it, then I need you to just more, because it's the love language thing. I need you to speak my love languages more. Yeah. And she was like, how do you even do it? And I was like, I don't, just practically, like, I know it's
you ate my fucking lunch for tomorrow. I love you.
Not even when we're in but just throughout life. It's not like about when we're, because she might have a bad tone, not even about me, but maybe she had a bad day at work or anything. And then that tone, I'm going to hear that tone, and my brain is going to hear that as you're mad at me. Even if it's kind of also about work, you're probably also mad at me, and I'm eggshells now.
Now lawyer.
Yeah. And so I was like, just more often than you are now, I just need you to express love to me. So that's an easy way to do it. Just say it every now and then, or just every few texts, just throw a love you at the end. So we'll see how that goes.
Even with something that could create tension, it's really easy to preface anything with "I love you, but."
Yeah.
No, don't do but. Don't do but.
I love you, and
I mean, I know. Well, I love you.
That's right. But makes the first statement irrelevant.
Yeah.
Not 100% of the time, but I would say
depends on the context.
Generally,
I would say I understand the context for sure, but also there has to be some consequence to that love. Mm-hmm. Because I was gonna say is like,
sure, yeah, I get that.
I mean, maybe the stress there is like, if your roommate's always stressing you out with their tone, then maybe you need a different roommate.
No, but there's a lot of reasons.
I know, but there's a lot of reasons.
People always want to give up on stuff like that. And it's like, dude, my sister said.
I'm awful at it. I don't want to give up on anyone. I'm just like, I'm also trying to be as analytical as possible when it comes to this stuff.
It's going to be difficult to live with anyone. And it's what my sister told me the other day is she finds in her experience, it takes about 3 years living with anyone to work out the kinks and to negotiate things, to compromise, to figure out everybody's shit.
Okay.
And so it's like, this happens a lot where you happen to live with people for like a year or two, And it's like, ugh, fuck this, get to the next person, and
Right.
you're just going to go through that stuff. So you might, if there's reason to believe it's a good roommate situation, largely
It's worth working on.
It's worth trying to see if you can like actually make it work instead of just throwing, because you're just going to have problems with the next person, and especially if you're going to do that in a romantic, you're just going to jump into a romantic relationship, live-in partner again, and then that's like is even more hard stuff. So I would much rather try it with my friend, who I'm not fucking.
Right.
I'm committed to the work, so
yeah. Well, I also was really early, like first roommate, like learn the lesson. Every decision that you or they make affects everyone else in the household in some way.
Yeah.
Like in order to facilitate being a decent roommate, maybe you consider what this is going to do potentially to your roommate, or your roommate's plans or whatever. Like, you know, just which is also a very similar concept to just being friends. Like,
well, every kind of relationship requires a lot of communication to be healthy and good, and that's the thing.
Well, communication and less expectation.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and we need more communication, because I also then realize, like, once I get uncomfortable feeling, like if I don't feel loved and stuff, then not only am I projecting negative stuff in terms of what I think is going on inside someone else's mind, but I'm less comfortable showing love as well. So then I'm probably, you know what I mean? And so we keep, instead of depositing into our emotional bank account together, we keep withdrawing, whether we even realize it or not.
Right.
And so that's what I realized is I thinned out the bank account, and not just me, but our bank account has gotten thin between me and my roommate. And it's also because we've
It's
both
supposed to be for vacations and stuff.
That's supposed to be when the car has trouble.
Right.
Try to take the emotional deposits to the car people.
Fix it, please.
Look at all the love between me and my roommate. You want to trade us?
I have gotten out of car for traffic tickets that way.
Yeah.
By loving?
By crying.
Oh.
By saying, "No, my life sucks."
Openly
Please,
weeping.
yeah, openly weeping.
I've tried that, and they've not cared.
Sure. Well, it's a crapshoot. Not in Austin. In Houston, it was easy, apparently.
Really? Tried
Well, because they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But like not in Austin. Austin cops don't give a shit in the kind of asshole
that
way.
way,
But in
yeah.
Houston, they're like, I don't want to do the paperwork in the first place. Fine,
Right.
get the fuck out of here.
I mean, God, it's Thursday.
Right. I have a quota, and I don't need fucking crybabies. You know, I don't want to write down. Yeah, whatever.
But I don't know. I just realized that she and I have both been like dating people, and like so a lot of our time haven't been spending as much time together as friends.
Sure.
And so then when your time together is like as business partners and roommates, and you're not getting the friend stuff in there, and you're not having sex, so you're not getting the oxytocin, you know what I mean, that some roommates are getting, then it's like, oh, fuck, no wonder our emotional bank account is withdrawn.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, okay, we need to we're slowly reintroducing love into our relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, because those are very different contexts, you know, of a relationship. Is like, because like that's why they say, you know, never work with your family, for example, like, because that context of being in business with someone you're that close to.
Yeah.
But some people do make it work.
Oh yeah, lots of
It's
people do.
just a lot of work.
You have to go into it with the concept of continuing to maintain the friend family part of it, and like not having that supersede everything every single day with that person, every interaction with that person.
Yeah. So I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear that story about Starbucks today, the Tempe, Arizona?
The cop forced to leave because one person was uncomfortable that a cop was there. Yeah, I read about that.
I just looked at Twitter for 2 seconds
In
on
Arizona?
my break.
Yeah.
In Tempe, Arizona. And as far as I know, I mean, who knows what multiple sides of the story we missed out on. But the basic story seems to be there is now a trending hashtag dump Starbucks that people did because they're upset about what happened at this Starbucks in Tempe where... am I saying that right, by the way? Tempe?
Tempe?
Is it like
I thought it was Tempe, but I've never been to Arizona, so I don't feel like I'm an authority.
Yeah, is it the vegan bullshit made of Satan, or is it Tempe, anyway, it's TEMPE. But so what it seems to me, from what I've read, is that a barista came up to, I think there were 6 cops who were in uniform, they'd come to get coffee. You know?
Tempe, also Indonesian, Tempe.
So both.
Yeah.
But in Indonesia, it's Tempe.
It's
but
Tempe in Indonesia.
Tempe.
But it's Tempe probably in Arizona.
Yeah,
it's
I
Tempe.
can't imagine they're saying Tempe in Arizona, actually.
No.
It depends on who's
Tempe.
moved there.
Not with
recently,
that
I guess.
heat.
Probably first syllable emphasis. Tempe. So anyway, so I think it was 6 cops who had come to Starbucks to get coffee and whatnot, and a barista came up to them.
The fucking cheek on them, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah, the balls
Going to
on
Starbucks
these cops.
for coffee.
Going to get coffee. So they came in, and so then a barista came up to them and said, "I need you guys to leave, or at least you need to move to this corner because a customer told me that she was uncomfortable with you being in her line of sight." So basically, she was triggered.
Sure.
By the sight of cops,
right?
And then they left. I guess we do have the right to refuse service to anyone, or I don't even know what the laws are at this point
but
about
they left,
that.
though.
They left. So people are saying dump Starbucks. Like the more. I don't even want to just paint this, but generally speaking, conservative types.
Mostly the people who are like on the beyond the thin blue line, right? Yeah.
I mean, are like dump Starbucks, whatever. I mean, I don't even care what. I shouldn't even bring up what people are doing on Twitter, but it's like it became a thing because. But I'm just like, who thinks this is the answer to any of this country's problems?
Right.
To kick these people are doing their job. They're on a break to get coffee. Do you really not want there to be any cops at all? Is that what? I have deep problems with the police state. I have deep problems with let's take all of these tanks and the weaponry and technology from our horrible, stupid fucking wars and then bringing them into the streets.
They're one step away from civilians. We do not. It does not need to be Fallujah.
A lot needs to be done.
Arizona.
And cop training stuff. I mean, there's so much needs to be done in terms of who we're even letting be cops. There should be litmus tests about emotional maturity and stuff. Some people are.
Ooh, that's a big problem.
Some people are really kind of unable to keep their calm in these situations. Maybe some people have PTSD. There's so many people who shouldn't be cops. There's so many people. There's so much training that needs to be done. There's a lot
of people who they hire.
And so I have deep desires for this country to fix what's going on with our cops. Right. But the answer is not fuck all cops. Let's either kill them or not let them. Like, what are we even talking about?
The only reason why that story that you brought up should be a story like loaded with like viral outrage is if that exact scenario happened and those 6 cops like beat the shit out of the barista and the person who complained and arrested them and hauled them away.
Right. The fact that they peacefully left.
But the fact that they're like, okay, I guess. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan.
I don't want to be where I'm not wanted, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll go to some other shitty coffees. I'm like hashtag dump Starbucks because the quality sucks.
Yeah.
The coffee
did it
is
a long
burnt.
time ago.
They're from automatic machines. Yeah. You could go to a nice place. Their pastries, if you can call them that, are garbage.
Better fucking coffee in my house.
Why is anyone paying? Jesus. Yeah, you can save money, make coffee at home. Like, just a million reasons not to go to Starbucks.
Well, I can counter the 1 million reasons I like Starbucks in general as how well they take care of their employees and their after school education stuff. But at the same time, like that neither of those things are relevant to one person. Yeah. One person asked their barista calmly, asked the cops to leave, and the cops calmly left.
Right.
That is not Starbucks did it. It's like it literally. What
Starbucks has had to apologize. That's not our policy. Is that cops can't come in.
Right. Yeah. Well, because on the actual business side of that decision, now it's like Starbucks corporate. Are we now going to lean into the whims of the triggered person?
The whims of one triggered person, because now all these people are trying to boycott
not allow
Starbucks.
the police to purchase our products anymore.
Right, and it's hurting their business.
It's not a Blue Lives Matter thing.
Yeah.
It's not a...
no, they're not going to do that.
It's not hashtag all lives matter, but it is like, guys, all lives matter. Like, please stop.
Right.
And the awful irony to me is that anyone who's getting frustrated to try to protect the cops in the situation, try to get rid of Starbucks, are also the ones who would say that individual choice is more important than anything else. And it's like, well, that one person chose to ask a barista, and they asked him calmly, like, everything about this could fit on either side of the political spectrum. This is not a politically charged thing.
It's not a political. Yeah, but everything has to
Ariel,
be now.
That's
really not a political thing either.
It's not.
What's really crazy is that I don't think that those people realize that, but it turns out later one of those cops was a trans woman, a black trans woman.
Oh, fuck.
No, I'm just kidding. But wouldn't that have been...
I mean, I would believe that, considering Tempe, Arizona.
Not in Tempe, Arizona.
They're very progressive.
Oh, no. But it's... Okay.
The whole thing was...
I give it a shot only because the outrage is so ridiculous, of course.
There were 1,000 possible reasons for that to blow up, and the one that happened didn't like it is so irrelevant as to, I mean, it's absurd. Start like front to back, stem to stern, because it's like the barista, like, hey,
Bacoa.
I'm triggered by the cops in my line of sight. Well, turn your fucking chair around, dumbass! Like, goddamn, we're trying to make money here.
Starbucks pretty much only uses to-go cups. Just go outside. I don't know.
Yeah,
go away.
Turns out you can just walk past a
sorry,
cop and they won't do anything to
Adam,
you.
that's also the most capitalist thing you've ever said.
Isn't it?
I genuinely believe...
What the fuck are they there for, really? Like,
exactly.
Look, I mean...
I'm just trying to put myself in the barista's shoes here.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's a weird thing because as the employee, it's interesting that the barista felt like they had the power and authority to tell those cops that Starbucks doesn't want your business because of this one customer feels.
Sure.
That's an interesting thing because I don't think of any kind of like, I don't know how high up you'd have to go, but I think most managers, even just of a store, would just go,
nah.
No, we can talk to this customer about, here's a fucking 25% gift card or not gift card, 25% discount card, and why don't you go away?
Yeah, sure.
Or you know what I mean? Like, be nice to her, but you can be like, hey, I'm sorry if you don't like cops, but like they are a reality of life.
Right. It's not the trolley problem. You're not like who you pull the trolley rail and then one person gets their frappe versus 6 people get their frappe.
Does this person walk around? What happens when they see a cop car? Are they okay to drive?
Yeah. Do they crash?
Well, I think
if they see a cop car like in a lane that's like behind them or something in the mirror, do they
have a wall around them of people who are keeping so they don't have to see? I'm like,
ironically, now I'm not blaming the authority blanket authority figures.
Well,
I was just like, what the fuck?
There's a manifestation of this too, because I feel like a good percentage, like at least more than half is my guess. At least more than half, when you're driving and doing nothing illegal and you see a cop, a little bit of anxiety kicks up.
Do.
Everyone does. And so, but this person weaponized it.
Yeah. Sure. Look, I'm uncomfortable around cops all the time. I always have drugs. Yeah. Of course. I'm never going to ask them to leave. If anything, that'd be more suspicious.
Yeah. If you want them to definitely not leave, do that.
But then, of course, now we have an example of cops saying, all right, cool. All right, we'll leave.
Yeah. I just will leave.
We'll come back later.
I don't want to be where
and now it's
not wanted. I don't just go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Which is against
I'm with you on like I have legit issues with the concept of just overall blanket authority over every single thing. These fucking idiots don't know shit. And it's just like I don't like getting told what to do or act or do anything by somebody who knows less than me or knows dog shit. I don't know.
The problem with me to this story is that our country is getting deeply more and more divided, and I just like this is not the way forward. And if you want bakers to have to serve gay people, then I think you should have to serve a cop. Like, what are we doing here? I don't think bakers should have to serve gay people either. Anyway, it's just just
I think it's a ripe opportunity to make a bake shop that only serves gay people,
or that serves everybody, and then you'll get more business than the other people. I don't. Why would you want to support the business of a homophobic person? I don't understand that. But they
that's what the free market's supposed to do, I guess.
But those things were always the operations so that they could get something taken to a higher court, whatever, this. And so it's just...
It's all a game.
People, and it's just so antagonistic. I was in Sacramento a couple weeks ago for Sacramento Pride.
Okay.
And the night before the Pride Parade, or like the whole like Pride party where Lizzo was going to perform, which was really cool because tickets were $10. It was awesome. It was a small venue, like a small outdoor... Yeah.
Lizzo, the first time I ever heard it, like punched right in the gut. She's fucking amazing.
See, and for me, I was hearing it first, like at work on our little Pandora stations, and so I just I was just like kind of aware of the name and some of the song, but I didn't even really know who she was. And so for a couple of days, I've been kind of listening to a couple of those songs with my girlfriend and like being like, okay, well, this is fine, but I didn't really care yet. And so then the day before the Pride situation, we were out at the gay bar dancing, and then inside the restroom door, someone had written a lot of like "fuck the cops" type stuff, like some angry sounding "fuck the cops" stuff.
Sure.
And so I asked someone about it in the restroom, and she was like, "Yeah, there's this controversy going on where some of the people in the parade didn't want uniformed officers to be there. They wanted no cops at all, and then
like
they said no.
Well,
they said we don't want cops at the parade. We don't want cops have no place at a pride parade."
They do to block off streets where the
they
parade
literally
shouldn't
have
go
to.
And people shouldn't drive. Yeah,
it's really necessary. They are blocking traffic. I mean, it's really quite necessary.
Sure.
And so they said, no, we have to be there. Like this is our job. This is how it works.
Yes.
There are laws, people.
Right.
And so they said, well, we don't want them to be uniform. Then they say we have to be uniform. We are going to be blocking traffic. And also, it's like, what happens if there are injury, if there's heat, if you know what I mean? Like, we need professionals.
Right. We have EMS here.
And
Do you want
said,
them?
We said, we'll people in our community will take care of it. We don't want uniform. And I was like, I don't want some fucking random gay, whatever, just to be. No, I don't. I want professionals.
Right.
There, okay, but so there was
some person who thought about nursing school once.
# arm pride.
I just don't. Yeah, like, let's give all the gays guns, and then we'll do a pride parade. That'd be great.
Yeah,
man, Texas would be all over that.
Guns and Molly. Let's do it.
Guns, Molly, queers.
Guns and
Let's
Molly.
do that parade next year. I'll enjoy a parade.
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
I'd probably go to that one. That's something's happening.
Everyone's gay in
something's
2020. Yeah. If we all are given guns and Molly, everyone will sign
That would be
up.
the world's biggest pride parade.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
Everyone's into at least two of those things.
And you'd have
Texas will go blue immediately.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we could do that too. Let's do it,
dude. You'd have
Convert people.
you'd have militia types and stuff out from the
making out with
boondocks.
trans people.
They'd be having a blast and like, well, have you seen this? That's my new.
Wait,
and it's just
I get it.
Have you tried this cocaine recently?
Yeah.
This shit's good.
The best way to get
it's
to their
a girl dick. Okay.
yeah. Oh, I get it. It's a girl dick.
I've always wanted to suck a dick, and now I can't. I mean, it would be all
Right.
over the place.
I finally found a place that would accept me. Now that my uncle's dead, and it's like these are avenues that could, honestly, you want to get to the heart of one of those guys who you take one look at and it's just there's no way I could possibly get along. Just talk guns with them.
Dude, let's do a gay gun parade. Gun pride parade.
Armed pride parade.
Armed pride, but everyone has to be on Molly. Just make sure no one gets hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need the cops though. Sorry.
We do need we definitely need the cops for this parade.
Suck all the dicks you want.
Or a bunch of hydration stations.
Well,
really.
that's what I was saying. It's like, why not? Okay, what if all the cops wear a little rainbow outfit, but it's still uniform, but we get them something pink. How about that?
Right.
Anyway, but so I guess there was some kind of fight about this, and these people didn't win. Whoever that was that wanted that, there were cops there as the law requires, and is really necessary.
As a large gathering requires by the state.
You're blocking off traffic in a major metropolitan area. Anyway, but
in the middle of the day.
We didn't even make it for the parade. I don't really like parades unless they're the kind we're just describing. But
unless they're armed.
Right.
And so, but then there's some people marching, even though we know it's way too late as we approach the Capitol. And then we realize it's a little mini after march where it's maybe 40 people, I would say. And they're yelling and chanting stuff about "fuck the police," and it's like, "Hey, ho, ho! All the cops have got to go. Terrorists or police, all this kind of nonsense, or police terrorists, whatever." And then there are 4 cops in uniform who are protecting and guarding them as they march down the street.
Sure.
But it's clear.
It's still Sacramento.
And so it makes you wonder, okay, so there's a small faction of queers who are super anti-police, and obviously the rest of the parade happened with whatever.
Yeah.
So I still it's an interesting dynamic, and we get there and we get into the pride section, and pretty quickly there's a SAC PD booth, and it was really, really cool because there were 3 cops in there, and one of them was a trans woman, and so And then
Wait,
I was
really?
like, yeah, no, this time for real. And so
Sacramento, I can see.
Yeah, there was a trans
Tiffany, not
woman
so much.
there, and with a little spinny wheel, and you get little. And so we got little temporary tattoos of police badges and stuff, which I immediately put on. Except there wasn't any water, so I kept having to just lick it and
But you didn't have any water, so your tongue was really dry.
Yeah, it was. I was dry. I'm sure it was high. Anyway,
The Molly really dries you out too.
yeah, the Molly from So I was Then it becomes an interesting thing. Okay, so fuck police, huh? Fuck her. Do you fuck this police officer?
Yeah.
Fuck all of them? And so we're walking around, and then and Lizzo is going to be coming on soon. We're trying to kind of get into position, but then suddenly I get to my room. I'm like, okay, I need water. I don't know about y'all, my friend. I need some water, and they're like, yeah. So the lines for the alcohol tent that also had water bottles were insanely long, and I didn't want alcohol.
Right. And just cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes. No,
Those
I
cunts.
hate all cops. Anyway, so then I tried to go to. I was like, well, let me try to go to some of these food trucks and just get water there, because the lines are a little bit shorter. But each one of them was still 8 to 10 people long, and I would get there, and 3 or 4 times in a row, I waited in these lines just to be told, yeah, we actually just sold out of all of our water. So I could not. There's no free water. Like I would have anything. Like I mean, I'm always if there's a water fountain, great. But there was nothing.
It's like communist utopia.
It's just I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of thousands, whatever people like in this place milling about. There's just no water, none. Yeah. Unless you are getting it from the alcohol tent, And so I got to, and then by that time I was like, I cannot wait now in this alcohol tent. Like I need water. I started like I got to the part where I was like having almost a panic attack or a heat stroke or something, and I finally just had to go to some business tent, and because I saw that they had like bottles of water, I was like, guys, please help me. And so they did, and so I was able to finally go back with some water to my friends and girlfriend, and I bring this up because then, as we're waiting for Lizzo, like people on the stage, because and she was like 30 minutes after they said, which always happens, but the people kept saying like, "Hey, everyone, remember to hydrate and drink water," and I was like, I started calling back. There is no water.
There's no water here.
There is no water, and so it really made me start to think like because then people are dropping out, and we're watching people walk by and getting a better position because of it. I was like, these people are dehydrated. They don't want to leave. They're waiting for Lizzo, and now they have to leave because there's no water.
That's why they're fighting each other.
Sometimes the police would come through, and everyone would have to get out of their way of their little cart, and then they would take someone. And it's like, dude, do you know what the police should be doing right now? Walking around with water for everyone. What a coup. Yeah. What a coup if they had just walked around going, hey, guys, there's no water. It's a public health crisis. That's what they should have been doing. Yeah. But so that's what they should have been doing.
Department.
That would have been ideal. But
oh, can you see that? Like, Sacramento Pride Parade was halted for a second because everyone was so dry. The fire department came out with their hoses. No, they were just really dry.
Hosed the gays. So
they were going to a concert later. It's all right.
Oh man, can you imagine the headlines?
Wet t-shirt contest. Okay, so Lizzo finally gets out, and everyone's all like, "Hooray, excited!" And she did really convert me through everything that she did too. And now I really like her music. But when she first got out there, the first thing that she said, she was like, "Guys, I have the best fans, and I love you, and I have something I want to say." And so she goes, "Guys, can we just give it up for everyone? Like, I love everybody in my community, and I just want to give it up for all the trans people in the community."
Sure.
She goes, "Give it up for all the people of color, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff." She does two of those, and then she goes, "And can we give it up for all the people who protect and serve this community?" The crowd
did not go wide.
No, they did.
Oh, they did?
They
really?
did. Even stronger than for the other ones because we knew what she meant. We all knew what she was referring to in this whole situation. Yep. And it was so beautiful because we were all like, yes, woo, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there were a handful of people who probably didn't, but most of us, even more loudly, were like, yes. We do stand with that, and it was a beautiful moment that she gave us. It was vulnerable for her. She didn't know how that would go.
Yeah,
that was terrifying, I'm sure, for her.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was a really great moment because otherwise we would all have been left in our heads thinking about all this kind of going, I wonder how many people really feel like fuck the police. Look, there was a little parade, but it wasn't that many people, but people are riding that, and I don't know. Then there's that trans cop who never knows how many. But we would have all been in our heads like, I wonder how hateful the queers in Sacramento are. Is everyone? Am I the only one who kind of
feels? Or just that one place and that one bathroom and that one little graffiti?
And so she gave us a moment to publicly all say to each other, "Yes, this is a love, not fear community. Yeah. We are not sitting there going, all cops suck. That's not. It's not helpful. It's not true, and it is not a way forward."
Yeah.
So anyway, props to Lizzo. That was awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, I growing up, I very much adhered to or just like really felt very strongly toward this whole like Antifa, like those sorts of things, like those
conceptually,
yeah. And what really is as I've grown older and older, thanks, Dylan. Is I think a lot of the problem that I had was the grouping of things. Like that is the root of pretty much every sociological ill.
Yes.
Is when you group a bunch of people together as though they are the same thing.
Right.
That's the heart of racism.
Divisive,
that's the heart of any of the isms.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so
I have problems with cops. I've had
I've
had loads of problems with loads of different cops. But it was when I started maintaining the concept that this is like, I can hate the concept of authority all I want, But that is a person.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
And I can talk to people. Like, I know how to do that.
Individuals, yeah.
So instead, my tone again gets me in trouble. But so instead of my awesome joke, you know why I pulled you over? Oh, to generate revenue? That's you step out of the car. Like, didn't land. But yeah, it's the thing. I think a lot of the most. Oh, you wanted to hear it clearer?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the most vocal minority these days, everywhere, all over the internet, all over the headlines, all over the media, all over everything, I think are stuck in that tribalist
very
mindset.
tribal.
Us first. There has to be an us and a them, and it has to be a fight.
Because you need an us versus them if you want to feel clear
Righteous.
about things and you want to feel good about yourself. You know you're the good person if you can so clearly point to the bad people. And so it's very useful to people, and it's that same kind of thinking that they're fighting against. And I just wish people could see that and start learning how to stop othering everybody. And I mean,
I wish they could too. Because honestly, like starting at that point was a big mistake for me. Luckily, it didn't go to any kind of horrible violence against any particular persons or whatever. But you start honestly remaining in ignorance of what shit like this does to a country, to a society, to a civilization, to anything, is at a certain point in one's life becomes willful.
Yeah.
You willfully do not want to know what the logical conclusion of what you are preaching is going to lead to.
Right.
Yeah.
You wear like a backpack then too.
Yeah.
Well, this is the whole, if we don't learn history, we're doomed to repeat its mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So many people are really not reading right now. A lot of quote unquote good people, a lot of our liberal brothers and sisters and siblings.
Right. Or they're only reading things that validate their own positions
but
already.
It's shallowness. And people need to be reading books. People need to read history. People need to read the wisdom of our ancestors, whether that's from novels and whatever. There's all kinds of ways to get it. And I don't care if you pick and choose which religious texts you do or don't read and you whatever, but even just novels would be getting a lot of people. You know what I mean? Yeah. There is so much wisdom that we are leaving on the table because people are so cynical. People don't think it's important to vote. People don't think it's important to read. And that's disgusting.
Yeah.
If you're not going to vote, fuck you. But also, unless you're going to vote for the wrong people, which is fine.
No,
but it's not. It's not. Here's the thing. And it pisses me off. So many comics get up there, hey, but and they're still cynical, even for the 2020 election, still not watching the debates, still not whatever. And it's just like, okay, even if your vote does not sway the election, they look at the demographics of who does and does not vote. And if your demographic consistently doesn't vote, guess who they don't give a fuck about helping because you're not going to help them get reelected.
Yeah.
Guess what they do? They gerrymander. They re-gerrymander where you already are.
They're going to keep all the old fucking red people, getting them elected, and the Supreme Court just said they get to do it.
That little square grows a little bit bigger, including your fucking block now.
Right.
Because
because that demo doesn't matter.
Well, we could be Trojan horse it if we all started fucking voting.
That's true. If only.
Who has the time for that?
Yeah, well, I wish people would vote.
Technically, legally, everyone.
And read.
Do it online. Well,
also, can we
blockchain voting. Blockchain
I
voting.
I gotta get out of here
all day,
soon.
All day, every day.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up, I guess, and say, where can we find you online?
Oh, well, if you listen to my podcast, Gender Fluids, that's probably the most fun way. Unless you're offendable at all, please don't listen.
Especially if you are offendable.
Or if you are offendable and you like being offended.
Thicken that skin.
Especially if you get off to it.
So there's a Nerdrotic. There's a guy named Nerdrotic on YouTube, and he often says, anytime you hate something, I'm going to do it twice as hard.
Yeah. That's what gets me off.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can come.
It is. So.
And it's you and Ava Smart, right?
Ava Smart. Yeah. And we talk about sex and gender. But what I realized, because I use the term gay Instagram and gay Tinder to somebody.
Sure.
And he was like, oh man, I want to see that world. And I was like, first of all, it's really easy to see gay Tinder. Just change your settings.
There's a setting. It's settings.
Right.
Just go gay,
not
just go
gay. Just flip that one.
Go gay and check out the gays.
Yeah.
Say
hi.
I do
by.
that to check out the straights sometimes. I mean, I don't know.
Sure.
I just like reading y'all's profiles. It's fun.
Yeah. Sometimes I need to giggle when I'm taking his shit.
So.
In any bathroom I choose.
But there's all this terminology. There's all kind of, especially new terms all the time, new ways that we talk, new kind of rules or whatever you want to say. And a lot of people just are curious about all that or want to know, but it's hard to really keep up with that. Just like you might want to keep up with Black Tinder or that cultural stuff that you might not have access to. And we have ways now of learning about each other's communities through podcasts, through whatever. And so I was telling this guy, I was like, yeah, dude, that is part of what is great about gender fluids is like if you do want to hear those terms and figure them out, but you want to get it from someone who's not some people who aren't preachy, who are funny,
Right.
who are like it's a good time.
Right.
We don't sit there and like do all these disclaimers of like now I know some people's feelings might be hurt about these terms, but other people's feelings so we had to you know what I mean? We're two queers who are
Here's
talking.
35
and you
minutes
just
of
get to
trigger
listen.
warnings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the last time you were on the show, you said it was a queer podcast, but that wasn't gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the only queer podcast about sex and gender that isn't super gay.
Yeah.
It's technically.
Where can we find you online otherwise?
Well, ArielIsaacNorman.com. There's Instagram at selfawariel if you like pictures, if you like little thoughts.
Self-awarials.
Yeah.
And Twitter,
I like
I'm still
that.
poop
That's great.
tampon. But I might change it to either Lady Smegma or Lord Daddy God soon.
Lord Daddy Gog's great.
Lord Daddy God's good. I still kind of think poop tampon gets your like stand up.
Gets it in there. I know, but it's been poop tampon for so long.
Oh, you're
It's just I'm
aching for a change.
I'm feeling like I might want to change because Ava changed her name since the last time we did the business cards, so we need to get new business cards at some point anyway.
Sure.
So I have to make that decision. Like I need to make that decision within the next couple months. So it's a big decision.
Sure, yeah.
For now, it's still
Sounds
poop
like it,
tampon.
yeah.
But if you follow me now, you'll still be following me whenever it's Lady Smegma or Lord Daddy God or whatever it is next. So
Well, thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having
Absolutely.
me.
Sorry we didn't have you for as long as we.
Thanks for letting me talk
Always
politics. I'm getting so political lately.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it's only a little important.
I mean,
who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
honestly, it's
We're creating this world every day together, everyone. You have a real impact in every way.
honestly as a,
And being exhausted by it is not a good excuse.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from where I stand, having somebody even willing to talk at all about either side. Well, the conservatives
There's no-
love to talk, but they're fucking retarded.
Most of the people who like to talk are fucking retarded.
But see,
as
I
you
just did
say.
it again. All conservative? No, they're not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the whole thing is like they have their talking points, just like I will lump the libertarians together because they're a mess. They are a mess.
But this is also just a bunch of labels and everything. I don't know. I would say that if you're getting your news from the little TV shows, you're getting very bad manipulated news, and
Either way.
people
Yeah.
are controlling you. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's
Yeah.
Fox News
Yeah.
or those little comedians that they feed their bullshit.
Yeah. John Oliver doesn't care about you.
John Oliver doesn't know shit about anything. He is a comedian, and he's being fed this stuff. You think he knows what's going on in Venezuela? No, he reads what he's told.
I had a conversation with someone about how Jon Stewart should run for president. It's like, have you ever actually seen Jon Stewart stand up or how he interviews when it's
Yeah.
not funny?
Right.
Like he's an ass.
Yeah.
He's also he was super rich before Daily Show. Like,
And also,
he's,
do you think he
he's just a
wants to-
fucking guy? He's
Yeah.
he's just he's a pundit on the other side.
God, people
He's a
are
scary
so-
liberal. Like
people are so fooled.
But
Yeah.
besides
Yeah.
those things, like what bothers me a lot about what I used to be very adherent to is like a lot of people on the left have like an aversion to bring their points, to actually open up a dialogue, to
Yeah.
actually talk to any other side
Well,
other
usually-
than themselves. Like
usually
if
'cause
you're
they
not thinking what they're thinking, you're wrong.
Right.
And that I can't get on board with that.
It's weak, and it will not
And it's
serve
like, yeah,
us.
how weak are your principles that you cannot debate,
I've
that you cannot
seriously,
right.
counter?
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been considering starting another podcast, where I interview people and like have real conversation. Or not even just an interview, but just have real conversations and debates.
Yep.
Because no one's doing it. I can't find anyone who's doing it who's not being disingenuous really about their project.
Right.
The
Right.
Change My Mind guy, or like these. I saw
Right.
some liberal
Right.
documentarian.
I fucking hate Crowder.
Right.
Well, but he's disingenuous.
Yeah.
I'm going to
'Cause
argue with
like-
a 19-year-old,
Right, that-
and then heavily edit the thing. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't win
Yeah.
without
His-
editing a 19-year-old's debate with you.
Right.
Jesus, this
his,
is embarrassing.
His concept with that was fairly solid, and it interested me when he first started it. And I watched it, and the same thing happens on his original show, which why I don't watch that. He's just such a smarmy cunt.
Yes.
At all times.
Yeah.
And there's other people who
Yeah.
are on like closer to his side that who I
oh
still
God,
do
are people going to
watch.
call me a smarmy cunt though?
You're not smarmy.
Are they not doing that already?
Smarmy cunt. That's another.
I thought you introduced yourself as Smarmy Cunt the first time you were
Oh,
drunk.
can
I
you add
try
that to
be
the
so
name
that-
change
yeah,
list?
Exactly.
It might be taken though.
Smarmy cunt. I was thinking it might be
Yeah.
changed. Smarmy cunt 69 maybe. No, but and then I saw because I was watching this
Smarmy poop cunt.
this smarmy poop cunt. I was watching this documentary some liberal woman made. It was like, I live in New York, and I realize I live in the bubble, so I'm going to go out and interview people around the country, like real people, and ask them about abortion and guns and stuff. And she does, but she's insanely rude to them. Edits them to look like hit. I mean, this thing again, disingenuous.
Yeah,
and so I'm like, okay,
well,
I want to do this for real.
Sympathy trolling is also difficult to not slip into, you know, especially if you're trying to if you really want to try to get that thing for real, trying to get people who've listened to anything that you've done before, anybody.
Oh yeah,
and say like, no, I'm going to try to take this really sincerely. I'm going to ask you a real question, like. Please, what's this?
It's like, yeah, but are you?
I also,
yeah, but
see,
are
the thing
you?
is, I am a strongly opinionated person, but I'm very fluid. And so I'm always changing my mind. And I don't have like solid opinions about I'm not like, change my mind. I'm like, no, I'm interested in your perspective because I know there's more to learn and think about. Like, I genuinely don't know what exactly we should do about abortion. I have a lot of stuff I do think I know we should do and not do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there's stuff like there's all kinds of things about guns, about all that. I don't have some like
it's gray. It's all fucking gray.
Yeah, everything's gray to me.
Yeah.
And so I do see. I don't even like saying both sides, but I see all kinds of sides of all kinds of issues.
Right.
And so I'm like, no, I genuinely want to have conversations with people about that and see where we can come together and where we can learn from each other. I think
like,
I
who
am
has ideas?
capable of doing that.
So
and take some comfort. Take some comfort from this. It's not just everything's gray to you. Everything's gray.
Yes.
Yeah, there are very few black and white principles in all of life.
Right.
We
need to talk about our values and principles in this country.
Find a person.
Oh, if only we had it.
If you can find just as a means to see if you actually want to, because it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
Because I'm the kind of person who wants to do that too. I don't like the sympathy troll. I don't like that. I like literally want to ask questions because maybe I missed something.
Yeah.
And I do kind of do that with conspiracy theorists, but I like to try to work with them to try to figure out like maybe they're not saying the point correctly. What is it? But if you can find a flat earther that you know in any community, if your friends or whatever, I will totally host this. He and I will shut the fuck up, and you can just interview him.
I would love to, because I am a flat Earth truther, where I think that they're kidding. I think they're trolling us. I actually think we've all been fooled by this conspiracy.
Just 4D chess.
Yeah,
they're just pretending. I think there's a deep 4chan thing or whatever where they're like, let's all pretend we believe the Earth's flat to fucking troll the libs.
Like the
troll,
or
I think that might be happening.
Yeah.
But then what happens is that starts that way. That starts that way, and then a bunch of fucking morons actually believe it, and those guys are like, "Dude, we were trolling." No,
right. You start a great troll like that, and a monster pops out the other end.
There's always idiots who are like, "Oh, the Earth's flat."
Yeah. And they really like lean into it, and it becomes like a little part of them, and they're the ones now representing your idea, and so you abandon it and you go off to do QAnon things.
Dude, I would love it. I used to, like, when I worked at Trader Joe's, it was the best because I would talk to all sorts of people, and there's like a libertarian, and people were like,
of course there was.
All these, there's, and I would sit at the samples and just talk to them about stuff, because no one else would talk to them, and I wouldn't let them on about my politics or anything, you know what I mean? I would just listen and like ask questions and whatever, and it's like, dude, I just want to do this.
It's also fascinating to find someone who knows something, especially with conspiracy theories. Knows something, quote unquote. And they're like, I know this thing is real. It's like, oh man,
do you though?
That'd be nice. Like,
it would be nice.
I'm also like pretty like mercurial when it comes to concepts. Like, I'm happy to be told no or to be changed. And it's like, oh, you really, really believe in, like, because my favorite conspiracy theory of all time is that the only reason we went to Iraq is because they have a Stargate. Like, they actually have a real Stargate. Like, and that's wonderful because like that someone actually truly believes, and it's like, oh, you have a tent, or you have a flag that you can look at due north and say this is exactly true. Like,
there are so many people in this world. If there are people who believe that,
that must feel great.
It must feel great.
Anyway,
all right, take off. Thank you so much, Ariel.
Thank you.
Love you so much. Always good to see you. Good show tonight.
Thank you.
Adam, thanks for helping me run the show.
You're welcome.
If you like the show and want to know more about the show, you can go to contentpenny.com. It's contentpenny.com. It's for all the things we've done in the past. Any podcasts that we don't do anymore, if you like, you can tell us what you like. Any of the shows that we do previously, recently, etc. You can go to facebook.com/contentpenning. You can go to Twitter, contentpenning the show, or CP the show. It is a nice bag. Yeah, Adam is saying. You can find us 802-359-7468, 802-359-SHOT. That's a phone number where you can call or text if you want to leave a message about anything that you've heard and you disagree or agree with, and we will respond in kind. And you can also questions at contentpenny.com. Find us on iTunes, etc. Find us on Stitcher. Find us on Spotify. Find us on the places where you can get in web, etc., etc., etc. You're already tired of this, and you're probably not listening. Anyway, I love you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Content pending.